One of the most important lessons are related first to human resilience, our capability to survive altogether against crisis, and the second is about vaccines. The COVID pandemic was terrible, but it's also true that thanks to the vaccines, it was less terrible than it would have been. So we have been able to see firsthand the power of vaccines, in this case, to diminish the consequences of this pandemic. And the second lesson related to vaccines and COVID, I think, is the idea that the target of vaccines is not only infants, but in this case, the adult populations. When we talk about vaccines, we talk about the all-life course of immunizations. Yes, there are vaccines that are directed to infants, but others are directed to adolescents, to older adults, or to pregnant women. So the idea that vaccines are needed all around and all across our lives. We beat a record in our capability to respond and react to the threat of COVID by making vaccines very quickly. And this was possible not by cheating the necessary steps or the regulatory steps, but doing in parallel several of these steps. It was possible thanks to the joint effort of regulatory agencies, pharma, producers, physicians, academia. And what we did is to do several steps at the same time to really accelerate the process. But the criteria, the thresholds for the approval of these vaccines are as stringent as anywhere, anytime for any vaccines. Well, I think that the vaccine field is evolving very rapidly, and at this moment, as we speak, I think there is no infectious disease against which someone is working on the development of a vaccine. So our capability to develop vaccines against any infectious threats is evolving and evolving. So if I have to think of any major achievement beyond COVID, which I think has been essential for the whole humanity, beyond COVID-19 vaccines, one has to do with all the new platforms, specifically the mRNA platform and their adaptability to any new threat. As a matter of fact, now we have new vaccines licensed against other diseases based precisely on this same platform we used to develop the COVID vaccine. So this has been a game changer. Another important advance, I think, is related to RSV vaccination, RSV prevention. RSV is a major killer of infants and elderly around the world, and now we have available immunization options to prevent this huge burden around the world. Now the next step is to make it happen, to make these solutions available in every country, not only those countries that can afford or are high-income countries. And the third, I think, is related to the change in the mindset that we need to be ready to act with regards to vaccines. We do not need to wait for the next disease, but let's start working against the X disease, whatever comes next. So I think then the major advancement in the field of vaccines is now the policymakers, the authorities around the world think about the need to prepare for the X pandemic, whatever this is. So not to wait to have the problem, but to make the necessary steps to be prepared when this arrives. So this change in the mindset related to the vaccines will save many, many lives. Well, I think the Moldova immunization schedule is rapidly evolving, and it's an example in general of how to adapt the immunization schedule to the country needs. Very good updates, a modern and updated immunization schedule are great news for a country. At the end, you can define how a country evolves. I think it's one of the best indicators is the immunization schedule. The uptake and the composition of the immunization schedules tells you a lot about the country and tells, in this case, a lot of positive things about the country of Moldova. Concretely about meningitis, I think there is no disease more threatening like meningitis in general, and bacterial meningitis in general for any child. And it looks like there is an increase of meningitis caused by a specific agent, Neisseria meningitidis, meningococcal meningitis, happening in the country. For that reason, and as to my knowledge, the NITAC and the different expert groups around the Ministry of Health and the Public Health Director of the country have decided to take measures against meningitis, specifically against meningococcal meningitis, and for that there are specific vaccines they are considering to implement. So this is great news because first, we know these vaccines are safe and work very well. These are vaccines that have been used in several countries and that have been proved to be safe and efficacious. And second, we are talking about a disease that in the best case scenario, if you are not immunized, 1 out of 10 children will die, and 1 out of each 3 survivors will have permanent disabilities consisting on amputations or neurological disabilities. So this is a very severe disease. The best way to move against it is through vaccination. So it's great news that Moldova is considering to implement vaccines specific against meningococcal disease, meningococcal meningitis. HPV is an infection that is related to sexual activity. So any sexual active person around or across its life will encounter HPV. In most of the cases, you will be able to deal with HPV normally, with no disease, with no anything. But some of the cases will lead to cancer. The first cancer we discovered related to HPV was cervical cancer, a cancer that only happens in women. And the good news is that we were able to discover a vaccine that by preventing this disease prevents 100% of this cancer. And the good news is that we know that for certain. And after decades of the use of this vaccine, we have been able to prove that the first countries that started to use HPV vaccine have been able to drastically reduce the number of cervical cancer, not precancerous lesion, cancer, a cancer that kills and was among the top 5 cancer in women. But also we have learned that HPV is related not only to cervical cancer, but to other cancers. Cancers like anal cancer, vulvar cancer, vaginal cancer, penis cancer, but also other location cancers like the head and neck cancers. So now we know that around 5% of all known cancers are related to HPV. So when you get the HPV vaccine shot, you are protecting yourself not only against cervical cancer, but against many other diseases and cancer related to HPV. And cancers that are not only in women, like the cervical cancer, but cancers that are also present in males, like head and neck or other perineal cancers. So that's why in the last years, we have switched from only women targeting HPV campaigns to both gender campaigns, because we know it's as important to prevent HPV in females as in males. So you should consider HPV vaccine as an opportunity to protect yourself, to protect your children for a healthy life, for a long and healthy life against one of the most important causes of cancer. Social media are not good or bad, it's how you use them. A knife can be used to cook or to kill, and it's not because of the knife. So social media is something that is here, it's like AI. I mean, you cannot fight the advance, you have to use it correctly. So social media is a very powerful way to be updated, to be informed, to be educated. The problem is that it may have bias and it may have wrong uses. So you cannot accept 100% whatever comes from a social media, from a web page, from a blog. You have to be very careful on the source and how reliable the source is. So I'm not telling anything against social media. I mean, they are here to stay. But it's also true, and everybody is aware, that it's full of fake news, and sometimes the contents are not supervised or are not based on evidence-based medicine. So in case of doubt, for anything related to immunization, to your health, be careful. Just be careful. See if the source is reliable and trustful for you. And in case of any doubt, check with your doctor, check with your healthcare professional. He's the better person positioned to advise you regarding any vaccine, any immunization. Said this, social media are good, are there, but check for specific things like health and specifically immunization, check reliable sites and don't accept everything as a truth, because there may be wrong and fake news there also. Not all the children that fell from a flat or that are in the middle of a car crash accident die. Some of them survive, but you don't test if your child is the one that survived falling from a flat or being on a car crash accident. So that's natural infection versus immunization, vaccination. It's true, not everybody in an infection will die or will have sequelae, but you don't wait to see if your child is one of those that will survive. This is the best way to get your child protected. We need to think about vaccines as the best way to protect the health and the future of our children and ourselves. We have to be also healthy through vaccination to be able to keep protecting our child and the people we love. So vaccines is actually the best way to promote health. Natural infection is not a good option. Yes, sometimes you will survive, but you shouldn't check to see if you are the ones that survive or you don't survive. While with vaccination, you are making in a controlled manner the proper stimulation of your immune system to be protected when this happens. Another example, safety belt. There is people that go in the car and says, oh, I have been with in my car not using safety belt forever and I never had an accident. It doesn't mean that if you don't get vaccinated, you are going to die from a disease, or if you don't get the safety belt, you will explode in the car. Of course, the thing is, if you are in the car and you wear the safety belt, in case you have a car crash accident, your chances of dying or suffering are lower. With vaccines, it's the same. Yes, you can be totally unimmunized and be lucky and don't encounter that infection anytime in your life. But if this happens and you are not wearing the safety belt, not having the vaccine, not being properly immunized, you may die and suffer the consequences of it. The main importance of immunizing infants is related to two things. One is because their natural defenses, their immune system is immature. So they are not able to protect themselves against many of the pathogens we aim to protect through vaccination. So vaccines, we look with vaccination of the infants, is to promote the active protection and their defenses against these threats. Second, many of the pathogens that are included in the National Immunization Program for children target pathogens that specifically target the infants or the young children, that we know they are in the highest risk period for encountering these diseases. So this is the double aim. On the one hand, to promote the protection of these infants that by themselves won't be able to protect against the natural infection through vaccination. And second, because these microorganisms are much more frequent, the incidence is the highest during this age. Well, safety is a requisite. It's not a quality of anything. It's safety. I mean, if you are going to take a medicine, whatever medicine, you want to be safe. And vaccines are not an exception. Any vaccine that is licensed needs to prove to be safe. And particularly a vaccine which is administered in general to healthy people. So it's administered to healthy people to remain healthy, but not to cause harm. So any vaccine that reaches the market, it's proved to be safe. Because the requisites that the regulatory agencies put to any vaccine are much higher to any other drug, to any other medicine. So once a vaccine is available and licensed, you can be sure that the criteria it fulfills to be licensed are the highest possible standard. It doesn't mean that a vaccine cannot have secondary effects. Of course, they have. Anything has a secondary effect. Even water, if you drink too much water, you can get intoxicated or you can get problems. So everything, if it is wrongly used, may have secondary effects. But in the case of vaccines, most of the problems related to the use of vaccines are transient, self-limited, and benign consequences of vaccination itself. So in general, of all the medicines, there is no medicine, no medical intervention as safe as vaccines. Not meaning that they are devoid of any adverse events, but they are very, very rare and usually self-limited and benign. Healthcare professionals, and this is out of discussion, is the single most powerful deciding factor in anything related to immunization is the proactive recommendation of a healthcare professional. This is out of discussion. So we can do campaigns, we can do public health, media campaigns, press release, whatever. At the end, the family, the parent, the vaccinee will do what the healthcare professional tell them to do. So this is out of discussion. Second, of course, to do the proper advice, the healthcare professional needs to be trained himself or herself. And for that you need specific information and education, more in an evolving and growing field like vaccines. But it's out of discussions that vaccines are safe and work, and this should be out of the debate. And I think I want to put a red line here. It's not debatable. I mean, once a vaccine is licensed and recommended, it's out of the discussion. And it's like if you are a doctor and say, well, I don't really trust on antibiotics, or well, I usually do my surgery but I don't wash my hands because in my experience it goes well without washing hands. And everybody would say, come on, are you telling me this? This person would be retired for malpractice. It's the same with vaccines. So I can't think of a healthcare professional going against vaccines. Another story is that you need to be well informed, that you need to know the specificities of a concrete indication on a concrete vaccines, but you cannot just be against vaccines and being a healthcare professional. This is absolutely incompatible. Furthermore, I would say to the lay public, if your physician don't trust vaccines, don't trust him. Look for another healthcare professional. Because it's a way to measure how linked is and how updated your physician is. And nowadays, a physician that is actively against vaccines should not be a physician, should be banned. There is not a single reason why a parent may decide not to vaccinate their child. So it's not a simple solution to vaccine hesitancy and all we hear. And particularly, I understand the parent. If you read what the media says, if you look at the social media webpage and some of the messages you listen, it's normal that they are scared and they don't want to vaccinate their children. I totally understand. But the thing is, and this is the important message, that when you think that when not vaccinating your child, you are protecting him because you think vaccination is an active decision and non-vaccination is a passive decision, you're wrong. When you vaccinate, it's true you are doing an active procedure. When you don't vaccinate your child, you're also making an active decision because he is now exposed to the risk of the natural infection. So it's actually making an active decision. So what I would say is the problem is not to have doubts or fears, that's normal. The thing is to make the right decision despite the fears and the doubts. And for that you need informed education. You need to get your answers to the questions you have. And for that, the best way is the healthcare professional. So it's normal to have fear. Nobody goes to the surgeon and gets the surgery because he's enjoying it. You do it because although you have fear, you know and you have been informed that the best decision to move ahead is to get that surgery. With vaccines, it's the same. It's not that I'm a vaccine advocate and it doesn't mean I love to get immunized, but I know, even if I have fear in that moment, that it's the best for me, and after a careful analysis of the pros and cons, it's the best for me, the best for my children, the best for my family. So I think it's a question of information and education and to go to the trustable sources. And usually the most trustable source is an educated healthcare professional. I'd like to really congratulate to the parents of Moldova for their great job with immunization. I mean, Moldova is one of the countries with highest immunization uptakes, and this means that there is a true compromise of the parents with their children's health and well-being. And we need to continue to do so. And for those few parents that may have doubts and still don't think they should vaccinate their children, or they have doubts with regards to one or all the vaccines, please check with your healthcare professional. Try to solve your doubts and consider that when you don't immunize your children, you're assuming risks you maybe are not well aware how important they are. Vaccination is the best way to protect the people you love, to protect the people most vulnerable, to protect your family. This is the easiest and most powerful way of protecting the health of your family and specifically of your children. So it's true, you may have doubts, sometimes we don't know everything or we don't have all the answers to your questions, but try, ask us, go to your healthcare professional and try to solve any doubt you might have regarding immunization. Because what is sure is that when the authorities recommend a vaccine, it's because we know it's safe, It's efficacious and is the best option for your children.